Do you know the consequence of not having a will? The next of kin of deceased person might have to face more than 2 years in courts in order to acquire their legal rights. And even the HR professionals must know about will and its benefits. Having designed will for an employee ensures that in case a person dies in harness, the HR person can provide the details of the person's rights to the court, and the court can give the right to the legal heir. Today we have with us Mr. Ibrahim Khaleel Arimala, Managing Partner of AlNasser Legal Consultants and Advocates, and we are going to discuss about will, and we were grateful to him in last HR Majlis, I think so last year.
Yes.
And he has been kind enough to accept our invitation to come and give a talk on the benefits of will and how it can benefit not only an individual person but also the organizations. So we are going to hear from today Mr. Ibrahim about what the benefits of wills are, and in case if the person does not have a will, what are the consequences of that.
Thank you, Sandeep. First of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me, and we will have a talk on these wills and succession planning. Will is very important document that basically will protect assets and minor children. Any country, if you have an assets, you need to have a plan, succession planning, and you need to set up your will down. Because will speak when you are not there. A person dies intestate, that means without making a will. There are a lot of complications for the family, because if they want to claim any assets of the deceased, they have to go to court. First of all, they have to prove that they are the legal heirs. Then they have to list out all the assets before the court. Then based on the country's law, the court will give the inheritance certificate and court will transfer the assets of the deceased to the family members. In UAE, as we all know, it's a Sharia jurisdiction. UAE law they follow the Sharia system. If anybody dies intestate, which means without having will, the court will give 1/8 of total assets to the deceased wife, and from the balance 1/6 to father, 1/6 to mother. Rest will go to children, that will go to son and daughter. If they don't have a son and no father alive, then 1/6 to brother, 1/6 to the sister. If they have a son and daughter, son get 2 shares, daughter get 1 share. That is as per the Sharia. As an expert living in UAE, without having will, if any dies, this law will apply. The equation which I discussed, that will apply. Whether they are Muslim faith, non-Muslim faith, doesn't matter. For non-Muslims, they can set up a will and they can nominate their legal heirs, wife or kids, whoever they want to. They can distribute their assets 100% to the family members instead of going to all the family members, which I discussed in the beginning, the equation.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Ibrahim has been very kind enough because his legal consultant firm, where he is managing partner, he has been providing free advisory services to the MESHRM, and we are so grateful from the MESHRM community, and we are grateful for his firm to providing the services, and they have been advising the HR professional on the various aspects of labor laws. Now, going back again to will, Ibrahim, tell us about what all are the consequences of not having a will. Say, for example, if I don't have a will, what are the consequences of a person I have to face as an individual? Now, we are not talking about HR, of a company, but as an individual, if I don't have a will, what are the consequences I have to face?
All right. See, the consequences is, first of all, the authority here, they freeze the bank account.
Okay.
And your company, any assets, will be frozen unless and until the Sharia court will give an order. And your visas are cancelled and your assets will be distributed as per the local law. Now, why they freeze the bank account? To pay your debt and liability. The deceased may have a bank loan, personal loan, and credit card, utility bill. That all have to clear first. Then from the balance will go to the legal heirs. That is the reason they freeze the bank account. And as we all know, we all living as an expert here under residential system. Because in order to cancel the deceased visa, they have to cancel their family visa first, like wife, kids, and housemaid, whoever is sponsored. Their visa has to be cancelled first, then they will cancel the deceased visa. That's the second consequence. The third consequence is the asset will be distributed as per the local law, not as per your wish. So when you make a will, the advantage is if you have a will, your asset will be distributed as per your wish, and the bank account anyway will be frozen. But if you have a will, you can go to the court, you can present the will in the court. The court knows what is your wish, who's your legal heirs, how you want to distribute your assets. So you can get the court order immediately, and then you can distribute the asset to your family members. Of course, if there is no will, there is a family argument. People, they don't know what they get, and there is a fight between the family. And if husband and wife they have separated, the divorce is not completed, then the ex-wife can claim.
Okay.
And if there is a living relationship and there is the fiancé, she will not get anything because unless until you write in a will, because there is no relationship.
Okay.
And if you have kids from previous marriages, if you don't set up a will, if you don't keep a provision for them, they will not get anything. These are the consequences in the case there is no will. When there is a will, there are a lot of advantages. As I said, it will basically speed the process in the court of law, and the court knows what is your wish, who's your legal heirs, what is your distribution, how you want to distribute your assets.
Perfect.
So you can get the court order immediately, and you can transfer the assets to the legal heirs.
Perfect. Now, Ibrahim, we were discussing some time back that this is the consequence of the individual. What about in a situation like, for example, as an HR manager, like an HR manager is responsible for in case a person dies in harness.
Right.
So the person, it is the accountability of the HR person to do the documentation and all.
Right.
Many of time it has seen that because of not having a will,
right,
the dispute arise.
Right.
So what is your suggestion for HR professionals or HR managers with respect to will, and what are the benefits that it will bring to the organization?
Absolutely.
And to the HR manager, so that the deceased is taken care of, his legal rights are taken care of?
Right. See, as I said, the will is not only for the people who has property and bank account and the company.
Yes.
It is even for the people who are working in a company, because when they die, their end of service benefits, their insurance, their gratuity, everything should go to the legal heirs. Okay. So if they set up a will, it will go to the right people. It will not go to the entire family member. As an HR expert or HR manager, they should look into this angle, because if they give end of service benefit to the wife only,
yes,
the father and mother can come and fight against it. They can claim from the company, because they are also the legal heirs as per the local law. Now, I would recommend that every HR, they should create an awareness among their company and the employee, because they should aware about the system, and they should nominate or they should set up a will for their legal heirs if they are aware. Otherwise, if all of a sudden if they dies, then anybody can come and claim it. HR also not aware about the system. They will hand over the end of service benefit to one member of the family. So anybody can come and claim the share from the end of service benefits. At that time, the HR will be in problem, because they have to go to court and they have to face the court hassles. Instead of that, they can create an awareness, they can advise, they can recommend their employees to plan their succession and set up a will for their loved ones.
I think this is a very good idea. So my suggestion to the HR professional and the HR community is, if you really want to create, as Ibrahim was saying, to create an awareness among your people about the will, because having a will has a lot of advantage.
Absolutely.
So if you would like to create an awareness among your employees, Ibrahim, and he is being a managing partner of AlNasser Advocates and Legal Consultants, you can invite him as a part of your awareness program to your employees, and he has been kind enough to accept the invitation. You can invite him, he can come to your organization as a compliment.
Sure.
And he can educate. We have seen now the consequence of not having a will. What is a will? And we have seen that how Ibrahim has been kind enough to extend his services to the HR community across GCC for MESHRM HR professionals. And now let's shift a discussion towards how do we design will, and from the individual perspective, and then we will go from the perspective of individual to the organization, that how do we create after having awareness, how do we create a process of having a will for our employees. Let's talk first about how do we go about creating a will for individual, how costly it is, Is it cost effective? And what kind of a services you can provide for individual to create the will?
Sure, sure. See, the process is from the beginning, basically we sit the person who would like to set up his will.
Okay.
We explain to him the details, the pros and cons, and...
Is it too complicated?
No, it's not. It's simple. It's not complicated at all. We basically require the passport copy of the person who want to set up his will and his family members.
Okay.
And there are two kind of will. One, you can put a specific details in the will. The other one is you can put a generic details.
All right.
Generic clause basically. And if you want to set up his details, of course we want the property details, company details, if a vehicle, if you want to put his bank account. So we put a specification in the will. Normally we put a general clause, because what happens, if you put a specification, your assets keep changing. So whenever your assets change, you have to amend the will. If you put a generic clause, we will clearly say that all my property, all my company, all my bank accounts at the time of death, which covers your present as well as future assets. Mm-hmm. So basically that is highly advisable, so that everything is covered under the will. So the process is, we sit with the client, we explain to them, and then we draft a will according to their wish. We give them for approval. Once they approve, we take an appointment in the Dubai court, Notary Public, or in DIFC. At that appointment time, we have to go and we have to register the will with the authority.
And what are the implications of these wills? These wills are internationally bound or accepted all across the world in their own respective countries?
We should very thankful for the ruler of this country, and they have given a new setup in DIFC for the expert who live in this part of the world to have their succession planning done and will set up. DIFC will cover worldwide assets.
Okay.
When they started with the Dubai and Ras Al Khaimah assets, but now they cover worldwide assets. So if you set up a will in DIFC, which will cover all our assets all over the globe.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a wonderful news.
Yes.
And I'm sure this will benefit all of us and all, we don't wish people to die, which is very, very bad. But, death or incident situation doesn't come telling you in advance. So we need to be prepared about any consequences, what happens in our life. So that's a will for that purpose. Now, the next thing we're discussing, Ibrahim, about how to create a structure of a policy of having a will in an organization, and how beneficial this will be for the organization, and what is the procedure for it.
Sure, as I said, there should be an awareness created among the employee in the organization, and it will benefit the organization as well, because if they give legal way to the legal heirs, then there will not be any problem in future. Nobody will come and claim.
Yeah, nobody can claim later
absolutely,
on after the
absolutely,
death. Right?
Absolutely. If they give to one person who's coming and claiming without having court order, without having authority's order, then there can be any claim in future. Anybody can come and claim.
Yeah.
So authority from organization side, if it's better, they create an awareness among us, the employees. All employees aware about the laws and system of the country. Then they can set up their will, and then something happen, the legal heirs go to the court, they get a court order, and the HR manager or HR personnel can deposit the end of service benefit to the court. So the court will distribute to the all family members.
That's a wonderful news, and for the wonderful information, Ibrahim. So if you would like to get more information about will, here's a number of Ibrahim and his email ID. You can speak to him or send an email to him for further information. He is available for the MESHRM HR professionals. You can call him for a talk in your respective organization. And we wish you a healthy life. And however, we need to be careful about the contingencies that can happen in our life. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.